Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sunday Morning Coffee with Lisa. I'm spiritual coach Lisa Hopp. It is Sunday, May 15th, 2022. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I hope you're well. I hope you had a great week, and this is the start of another week filled with blessings and reasons to be grateful. If you're new, please be sure to check out my website at lisahopp.com. Well, gosh, even if you're not new, check it out for all about the latest events, services, just to get the update. There's also an opportunity at the top of the homepage to sign up for my newsletter, which honestly I send out emails perhaps once or twice a week, or a month actually, once or twice a month, because I really don't like myself being inundated with emails from someone. It makes me unsubscribe. It just does. So I take that into account when I decide to send out emails as well. They're only meant to be informative about upcoming events, new services. They're not meant to inundate you. I value your time. And for those of you coming back every week, not only also, please check out the website and subscribe if you haven't, but thank you for coming back and for your comments and always for your positive comments. I appreciate you all so very much. You often make my day. As I've said more than once, I do this podcast out of service. It was intentioned to be kind of like its own spiritual church a bit, and I may still do that in some way, but it ended up being more of an inspirational one reading kind of podcast. And so, well, I appreciate the love. I really do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I send it back to you 100 times over. Also want to tell you before I get started, because I might forget at the end, that please like, subscribe, and share if you're listening to this on YouTube, but also check out my newest channel on YouTube, The Guided Journey. It is not me on camera so far. It is me doing channeling messages from angels. There's another one coming out tomorrow. Hopefully, I mean to record it tomorrow about spirit guides. Soulmates, and it is just, I love spiritual stuff. I just love serving in a spiritual way, and so the Guided Journey is another opportunity for me to do that. I do that on my off time. I giggle because, well, some of you who are entrepreneurs understand this. When you're self-employed, you tend to work long hours. My hours don't add up to the energy I put into my hours, but it is no way negative. I probably work 60 hours a week at least. I don't always log it. But I also do these things on the time where I give time off to myself. To rest from seeing clients is when I do recordings and things. And email sessions and such, because you can order yourself up at Angel Channeling. You can ask me a question by ordering an email session, and so there's quote off time work that I do as well. So but if you're thinking, because you're a wonderful spiritual person who's an empath, who's a light worker, and most people who listen to this podcast are spiritual people, if you're thinking, Lisa, don't burn out, I do take care of myself. I do know when to step back. Sometimes that means that you wait a little bit longer for what you order, which actually happened this week. And it's happened a couple weeks ago where I had to give myself a couple more days of rest than normal. So don't worry about that. I always know when I'm in need of rest. And I also want to say, I went to say this. So this is something I pay attention to about. I pay attention to when I want to ingest something. I'm all about what needs to be healed within myself, so I don't have blocks, so I'm wide open to all of the possibilities in life. And I just noticed I want to say to you, do not worry. When I need rest, I do not postpone my clients. There's an importance that I have. What's important to me is being dependable, showing up. I would never show up for work unless I could. So that's another way that I have to make sure I take care of myself so I can show up for work in every way. Never do it half available or half abilities. And so I wanted to ingest that. So I want to investigate that about myself a little bit more to see what made me want to ingest that about the dependability. Is that it's a good thing. It's a very good thing, but it is also a hidden block for me. So that kind of segues me to the topic, and it's such a timely topic. And my guides know that, my gut knows that, just as much as what I'm pulled to talk about knows that. A couple days ago, I realized I wanted to talk about how our ancestors provide us with programming and with blocks. And we do naturally live with the impact of our ancestors. We saw it today, actually yesterday afternoon. I heard about it last night. Yesterday afternoon, there was, sadly, another mass shooting that was racially motivated. Racism is an evil, I want to call it a sin, that's passed down through generations. And it's not only programmed through what we hear by those who raise us, but it's handed down as well in our DNA, in our cells. So it's very hard to give up. People have given it up. People have reprogrammed. It's been done through perhaps a traumatic event, decision to do that, a miracle, perhaps even, but it's also been done through true diligence. If I don't want to be like this, I'm going to cure this. I'm going to heal this. And it can seep, even when you're in a very focused way, healing it, you can still have moments where it peeps in, it whispers in on you. So it's lifelong work, truly, to get rid of something like racism within yourself. And a lot of the time, people don't even realize that they have it, that it's within them. They don't. And what do you do with that? Well, anything, you send love to it. You don't do it verbally because then it sounds arrogant and it's not received. You don't want to do anything of ego. So you have to privately and through your energy send love to hate, to bigotry, to where there's violence, to where there's misunderstandings, to where there's fear. Because that comes out of fear too. Racism, fear, it's a powerful thing. It's such a block, such a blocker. But it also, fear wages a lot of what's troubling us in this world, of what we're dealing with in this world. And also the love of, also the love of power through ego. Really, we give it so much power. So when you send love energetically and privately, You're actually serving in such a miraculous, powerful way. But it has to start within yourself. You have to have it to send. That's why last week, I hope you listened to it, when I spoke about my Mother's Day message, during my Mother's Day message, it was about that maternal love and feeling it for yourself and then sending it out to others. You have to feel it for yourself. You have to appreciate who you are. You have to love who you are. And even if you have to pull it off through looking at yourself from the outside, from seeing you, whether you want to see you currently at your current age, or as a child, or as a baby, however you want to see yourself, step back and observe yourself that way and send that part of you tremendous love. Grow it, grow it, grow within you. And understand that the people that you assign to love you, whether it be parents or spouses or best friends or whomever it is, they can only give you what they're capable of. They cannot give you more. They cannot give you what you would expect. That's why they say about expectations, they always lead to disappointment. Now, well, maybe most of the time, yes. I would not like to say all the time. But when we expect, we tend to be let down because we expect from our own desires, from our own story. And that's not another story. But that doesn't mean because you don't share a story with someone that you shouldn't have empathy or understanding. And that's an issue we have right now in our world. If it's not my story, then if it doesn't impact me, but it does. I'll get to that next. But if we consciously think it doesn't expect me, or it doesn't impact me, if it's not my story, then I'm not going to care about it. It's not mine. It's not my world. Forget it. Oh, no. Here's what you must understand. It's so important that you understand this. We are all one. And what happens to another happens to all of us. Whether you realize it or not, whether you see it or not, in your physical world, it's impacting you. So yesterday, when 10 people were coldly and viciously taken from this world physically, even if you are not their race, even if you are not of their town, even if you're not a person who shops at a market like that, you were impacted and are impacted by that, because what impacts one impacts the all. So let's say that your great-great-grandmother was impacted by something in a traumatic and tragic way. That energy is brought down to you. So it's so very important to always be watching, not in a way of fear or in a way of focusing in a paranoid way, but just awareness. Having that awareness of why do I feel like that? Why do I think like that? Why do I have habits like that? And do I want to have these thoughts, these feelings, these habits? And if you don't, if they're not serving you, then you don't. Many of our beliefs, and beliefs are not, I don't think at all ever based on fact. They're based on perceptions. And some of those perceptions are part of your cellular system. They're not perceptions through your own life experience. I'll give you a good example. I have a fear of heights. For absolutely no reason, consciously. I've never had an experience in this lifetime where I had a traumatic experience with height. I've never been held over a cliff or, had anything happen. Yet I've often said to myself, not often, but, enough, I wonder where this came from. It must have come from a past life, but it's not like there are a lot of, high-rise, buildings in the past. But yes, perhaps my ancestor, in some way, had traumatic experience with a cliff. Or perhaps they went down in an airplane, and that's why I have the fear, because it was handed down to me. And it doesn't have to be actually the actual experience. For me, a fear of height is sometimes also about control. I want to have control. But that could also be because of height. I want to know the pilot's all right, that they're spry, that they're ready to fly. So that could also be because of the height, but maybe there's a root cause also involved that shows itself through height rather than being about height itself. So it's worth investigating. It's what I would say to you when I say investigate or research. No, you don't necessarily have to go on Ancestry.com, and often it doesn't have people's lives about it. It just has sometimes when they were born and when they passed, if they thought about recording, because they didn't have the ability or the desire to record the way that we do today, so that not all the information can be found there. But when I say awareness and research, I mean being aware about your thoughts and your feelings. Are they coming from a true experience? Or are they just a part of you? And if they're a part of you, well, the wonderful thing is that you can reprogram them. That is why, and I probably say this every week, and I truly don't have the intention of repeating myself, but it's worth repeating this. That is why the millionaires, and I mean the real millionaires, the real billionaires, and the multi-millionaires, well, even those that are, when I say multi-million, it could be worth $2 million a year. They know that they have to work on stuff. And they do the tapping, the emotional freedom technique. They do the neuro-linguistic programming. They meditate. They visualize. Why? Because they know. They know what I'm talking to you about. And that is the only difference between them and you, is that they know and they focus on themselves. They focus on achieving their greatest potential. Where a lot of us get up every day and live our lives habitually and wait for our vacation time and hope for the best, hope for freedom, hope it will come to us, but aren't really diligent about practicing and focusing on achieving our best selves. Focusing on eliminating things that are in our way. We kind of live on an autopilot. We believe in good luck and bad luck. And it's better for some and not for the others. It's beliefs again. It's also autopilot. Those who are the wealthiest, and by wealth, it's just a symptom of unlimitedness. It's just a symptom of abundance. They focus on it more now. Yes, you might have a belief system that says there are greedy among us, there are people that cheat, that's a belief. That's a belief. In every area of humanity. There are those who are for the greater good, and there are those that are not for the greater good. Karma takes care of that. I call it karma. It's what you put out, you get back. So don't assume that because you don't see it, it's not happening. And inevitably, everything is taken care of. Even in this day and age where it looks like people don't get the consequences they used to get, or there's not enough consequences, oh, they do. There is. Just because it's not to your naked eyes does not mean it's not happening. Always. There is always consequences for actions, and there's always consequences also for how you feel. That's why they say be careful what you wish for. You'll get it. But that is also nothing to fear. You have tremendous power. You are a being that is so powerful that you have the ability at any second to change your life. You're at the steering wheel. You are creating tomorrow, today. You're creating the next hour right now. You can always turn anything around. And don't you always notice that how you feel inside matters? When you have hope, you're paid for that hope. When you have faith, you're paid for that faith. When you say, nope, I'm not going to let, when you say, oh, this is the kind of day I'm going to have, when you wake up and you're running late or you stub your toe or something's happened early, you go, oh, this is how this day is going to be. And then the day is like that a bit. But when at some point you say within yourself, I don't want this day to be this way, I want it to be different, then it changes. That's how much power you have. That's how much power you have. You are a very powerful being within that physical body of yours. More powerful than you can contemplate. And that is a good thing. It's a very good thing. So even though we are impacted by what was brought down to us, not just through words, as I said, not just through what we picked up in the womb, through our mother's experience and our father's experience too, because they were outside the womb most of the time. It's within ourselves through the natural inheritance of our biology. But it can always be turned around. So when you say, to backtrack, money is the root of all evil, by the way, that's not true. Money is a symptom of abundance. Money is a way that God shows itself. God or source or abundance or prosperity or source. And yes, people can decide to use it for means that are not helpful. But remember, consequences for actions, consequences for who you are. And I'm talking about people who use it for darker means, for selfish means. I'm not talking about the average person, by the way, who wants to buy themselves a nice house with multiple bathrooms and wants to go on a great vacations, that wants to have a beach home. You are not on the wrong track of abundance. You are not going to turn into an inherently evil person because you want a beach house. Someone else will not suffer because of that. I mean those who are callous, who are cold, who intentionally don't mind harming others. That's what I'm talking about. And I don't think that's my listeners. I don't. So we're taught things And maybe the experience was at some point in our lineage, there was someone who was like that. That was a slave owner. That was, and I mean an awful, someone who is more extreme as a slave owner. Perhaps it was someone of that callousness in other ways that can be brought down to us. It's not just learned. It is inherited. But like any inheritance, you do with it what you want to do with it. You can invest it in wonderful things. You can disown it. Or you can decide to just not pay attention and to walk around your world on autopilot. We're at a time now where we understand the power of our thoughts and our feelings. We know we're still a little nervous about it at times. Some of you are still a little bit afraid of it. But these times have been predicted. We would understand about quantum physics and energy and the power to manifest. The power of us. I dare to say of God's. We knew this was coming. We also knew that this would be a time of healing. And oh my gosh, isn't it something to see the healing that is taking place within everyone? You are going through that as well. Energy that is the highest wants to come to earth. It cannot come while healing is taking place. So we're all going through it. Sometimes are you sad and you don't necessarily know why? Why is that? Why do I have such sadness about that relationship or that experience out of nowhere? It's because it's rising up to be healed. Everything that you're experiencing right now, whether it be sadness or anger, rage, biases, is asking to be healed. Everyone is asking to be healed in their own way. And we can't force it on another. Again, we can only send them love in our own energetic way. And you may notice if you try to help, they won't listen. They may want to listen. Everyone is going at their own pace. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be who you are and be loving and kind and say what's meaningful to you. A seed is always planted, even if you don't see the change in front of you. I think I look forward to investigating why I have a fear of heights. Because I really don't want to have it. Now, I can live with it. It doesn't keep me off of high places. I've gone to the top of the Empire State Building. I get on planes. I stand back a little bit when I go to places. You're never going to see me hanging over the edge anywhere. I have no desire to jump out of a plane. It is who I am, but I still live a good quality of life. But I'd love to know where it came from. Because any opportunity to heal makes me a greater version of myself. And what does a greater version of myself, what is that like? How does that express itself? How would it express itself within you if you are able to overcome the traumas of your ancestry? Well, you would have nothing holding you back from wealth, and it would be whatever wealth you want. Because it's different for everyone. It's about freedom. It's always about freedom. And for some, the freedom is $1 million. And for some, it's 100,000. For some, it's $1 billion. For some, it's 500,000. For some, it's 25,000 more than you earn today. It is not, there's not a number to it. It's a feeling to it. It's a feeling. And you would just soar if you had no limitations. Love. You would have the best people around you, the dependable people around you, because what you put out, you get back. Everyone who comes into your life is a projection of what you're putting out in some way. So if you don't like who's around you, look to see what energy you're putting out to receive them. It's a lesson learned. It's not a mistake. It's just information about where you are. But you would definitely have more idyllic relationships around you, more helpers. Health. Oh, health. Every health matter is because of thoughts, emotions, stress, which is, again, about thoughts, emotions, beliefs. Every time. So if you're light as a feather and you have healed, well, let me put you this way. The more healing you do upon yourself emotionally, mentally, spiritually, the better your health will be. And if you have a diagnosis right now, the greater your immune system will be to deal with that. There's no such thing truly, and I don't say this lightly, as incurable. Spontaneous healings happen all the time, but that is not meant to pressure you. It actually works against you to be pressured. But when healing comes, healing happens in a healed body. And a body cannot be healed unless it has a lightness of being through mental, emotional, and spiritual healing. So it's an inside job, is what I'm saying. That's why they say laughter is the best medicine. It raises your vibration. And when you have a higher vibration, you eradicate illness. It's worth it, even if it's done in a little bit, even if it gives you better results on your blood work. Don't go for the cure. Go for the feeling, for the healing. Any cure, quote, will be a symptom of what you're doing. It's worth it. So you see, health, well, let me say it to you this way. That's why those who have access to the best medicine, they don't have financial concerns, that can get to the, greatest locations, whatever they need to do, still can have illness. And I know that boggles people's minds sometimes. How can someone who has so much wealth, how can someone like a Steve Jobs pass from cancer? Because there was healing that needed to happen that wasn't going on. And a will's involved too. As long as you want to be on this earth, and as long as you have a will to be on this earth, you're on this earth. And when you feel your work is complete through your soul, you are not. But those with the greatest means still have an inner child or an ancestral DNA that needs to be healed. We are all in the same place with that. We are all one and we are all equal. You have equal access to whatever you want, just like anybody else. It's just where your belief system is. It's just where you are. It's so important to know. So awareness is the key. Now, it is best to do it as much as you can each and every day. How am I feeling? Why do I have anger and rage about that still? And to work on that. Because remember, it's about a belief and a perception. And I'm not saying that your experience is not true, that you're not right. No, you have the right to feel whatever you want to feel. I'm not telling you need to let go of it. Just let it go and, it's no big deal. Embrace it how you feel. But then send love to it and you. Know your worth. Know what you deserve. Do the healing. Let it be a wonderful wake-up shout at that moment. Get excited about it. You have the power to change your life. Get excited about it. And then you'll see some real change. Because change always happens first inside. And then it goes outside. Into your environment. Into your relationships. Into your wealth. It's amazing. And making it even easier, feel love about everything. Always be in a state of love and kindness and gratitude. And that will give you extra juice too. Thank you so much for joining me. It's at 37 minutes, so I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate you all so very much. And once again, please be sure to go to my website at lisahub.com. Check out the guided journey for all the, for anything I can give you regarding angels and spirit guides. There's another channel coming very soon, another side gig of love. And that's hopefully starting shortly. I'm just waiting for confirmation about something to start that. And I know I'm being a bit secretive about that. But I don't want to talk about it anymore until it's off and running. If you are on YouTube right now listening to this piece, like, subscribe, and share. If you're on Facebook, please share as well. Please follow me there for all my upcoming events as well. I again appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful Sunday and a wonderful week. Thank you, and many blessings.